everyone, it's Katie from Chords Records. I had such a great purchase yesterday. I stopped off at a local market literally 5 minutes away from my house. Shout out to Nev's Record Crates. He turns up. It's out in this kind of little church hall. Outside the church hall, they have these markets every month, and the Cockatoo markets. And he has just acquired a massive, mainly folk collection, and he's slowly kind of putting them out in his crates. The guy that he's acquired, the widow of the guy, is just trying to get rid of her husband's collection. He was a radio DJ, I guess, who had a little folk show on a radio station years and years ago, mainly in the 70s. And she's now just getting rid of their entire folk collection of this man. And I was able to pick up a small but wonderful haul of blues and folk. And I just want to take you through them. These are some of these records I'll never see again, and so I just kind of went, yep, I'll take that. Some of them I had no idea what they were. Some of them I did. There's a favourite at the end of this video, which I can't wait to show you. The first one is Bull City Blues, and this is on the Fly Right Records label. So who are these? So Bull City was a kind of a nickname for North Carolina. And back in the 30s, and there are some really great liner notes here. I didn't know anything about this album, but back in the 30s, there were lots of blues players that were coming through, and there were a couple of people who are making an effort to get them down on a recording. And what Fly Right Records did was pull together lots of different singles that they could find, and then they'd pull them into these compilations, and the compilations usually had some cohesion to them or a kind of a theme to them. So this one is obviously Bull City. The first paragraph: Durham lies in the heart of the tobacco country of North Carolina, nicknamed Bull City. It became, by a number of coincidences, the centre for a group of blues artists who were recorded to a greater or lesser extent in the 1930s. And that's what this compilation is. Absolutely beautiful condition. And there's a really fantastic little... just have a look here. All of these albums were in stunning, stunning condition. And really, really happy to get them. This one particularly, the sleeve is immaculate, from 1972. It says here, Grange Road, Nehow, Weybridge, Surrey. And it's a mono recording. So that's the first one. The next one is a beautifully produced album. Kind of, I think it might be Folkways. It is. Yeah, I was just looking at it. And of course, it's Folkways. Of Doc Boggs, legendary singer and banjo player. Another beautiful condition. Folkways. Doc Boggs. This is him in his youth, when in the kind of the late 20s, 30s, when he only had an opportunity to put down his kind of recordings twice, and I think that was in the late 20s. And then he went on to become a coal miner for most of his life. And then in the early 60s, Mike Seeger, and you can see here, recorded and edited by Mike Seeger, the legendary folk person. He and his wife and their 3 children were on a trip, and they'd heard stories about this guy, but no one had ever been able to locate him again. And they decided, let's take a week or two and drive around these states where they thought he was and see if they can locate him. And they did. And he was as surprised as Mike Seeger was that he'd been found. and he couldn't believe that people were still talking about his music, and he expressed the desire to be able to play and be recorded playing the banjo again, and Mike Seeger did just that, and within 2 weeks he was on the festival circuit. It's a really great story, and that's this fantastic little booklet that comes with it shows him in that era later in life. And this album are those recordings, or most of them are, from the 1963. It's a really just a artifact that's just really beautiful. And when I see interesting folkways, I don't collect all folkways, but I do have quite a few in my collection now. And what's really fantastic about folkways and the Smithsonian, sort of institute, I guess, is just their archival material and just the beautiful liner notes that come with these things, and making sure that they're preserved forever. And so I was very happy to get that one. This one is actually it was first released in 1964. And this one, as far as I can tell, is a late 60s one. And the only reason that I think that is because of the different addresses. So there's the Folkways label. This has got a different address on it than the 1963 and 4 versions. The address on this, for those that know these things, is 701 7th Ave, and I think that might be late 60s, and it's not in Discogs. So if you know, please put it down in the comments. I'd like to kind of just confirm all that. Right, the next one is the very famous Flatt and Scruggs duo. Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. Lester Flatt playing the guitar and Earl Scruggs on the banjo. Obviously, one of the most famous kind of that sort of duo from this time. Just absolutely brilliant. But this one, Don't Get Above Your Raisin, is kind of like a compilation, I guess, of their music. Really, really, again, a wonderful condition of this album. Like I'm trying to build up not a large, but a small but really beautiful good quality collection and archive of a lot of this music, and I don't have any other albums by this duo, and I thought, this is in such beautiful condition. It's from 1979. It plays nearly mint on Rounder Records, that I thought, I might grab this. Of course, they played for many, many years, I think for 25 years together, until one of them was going in a slightly different direction, and they ended up parting ways. This one I bought purely on the cover alone, but knowing it was from this same collection, and this is called The Fields of November by Norman Blake. I absolutely love this cover. Now, who is Norman Blake? This is an album from Flying Fish Records. And Norman Blake, he toured as a guitarist for many, many, many years with Johnny Cash. And then he went on to tour with Chris Christopherson, a multi-instrumentalist. He actually played on Joan Baez's The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, has played for many, many, many years, and then played on the soundtrack of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, that fantastic kind of bluegrass folk iconic movie. He played on Robert Plant's and Alison Krauss's Raising Sand album later on, but this album is from 1972, Flying Fish, and it is just really sounds wonderful. It's got the guitar playing, it's really guitar forward, but it's really listenable. If you think Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson, but a little bit more steeped in traditional folk and folk music, I guess. Just a real treat. I was so pleased to pick this one up. Okay, the next two are, which I'll show them separately, but they're both Broadside. So Broadside was a kind of a zine, what they wouldn't have called it zine then. It was but it was kind of like this really lo-fi hand kind of printed folk magazine that was going around in the 60s, started by a couple of people, and they would print songs and publish songs at the time. And there was a lot of discourse, from what I read, around what is folk music, what is traditional folk music, where is its place in history, what is its role. And both these albums kind of celebrate the music that was featured in Broadside. This one is a crossover in my collection of Newport albums. I collect, anytime I see a Newport Folk Festival album in the wild, I will buy it. And anything that's published, contemporary, I buy it. So I'm building up my Newport Folk Festival albums. And so I'd never seen this one before. So this is the topical songs at the Newport Folk Festival, and it's 1963. So it's that classic era with Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, who both feature the Freedom Singers. I've got a few of these: Pete Seeger, Tom Paxton, Bob Davenport. So that's that one. I'll just show you the label that's on Vanguard, which obviously was one of the classic labels at the time, publishing all these people like Joan Baez. And the other one is a Pete Seeger one, and this is a Folkways album. So again, a little bit of a crossover for me. So this is Songs and Ballads sung by Pete Seeger. And it's just classic Pete Seeger. But most of the songs were published in Broadside. And again, as with all the Folkways albums, fantastic booklet and liner notes, and actually the published music that was published in Broadside. So really, really great addition to that collection. And I'll just show you the Broadside label here. You can tell I was so excited. And these were really, really probably half the price of what they should be. They had the psych alt folk female singer Elise there, and I'd previously bought that album, like almost $100. I think I paid for it, and he had it for $30. So I did buy this Fairport Convention classic album, but the reason I got it, it's not a first press. The reason I got it it's their most famous, right? Was I wanted to upgrade because my one is just a bit old. Like it's fine. Like you can play it through, but because all these other records were in such great condition, I decided to kind of, buy this one and upgrade, and I'll get rid of my other one. I played it through, and I'd forgotten how good this album is. And when you listen to a really pristine copy, it just twinkled. It was just like I was just sitting in my chair rocking. What an amazing, amazing band. And then the final two, I had never seen before. Well, this one I had never seen. The other one I had, but had never been able to pick it up. This is a live album by Loudon Wainwright. I pick up everything by Loudon Wainwright. Absolutely love him. I love anything by any of the Wainwrights, or the Kate and Anna McGarrigle, or the Rufus Wainwrights, or Martha Wainwrights. But this Loudon Wainwright III live album, apart from it being really clean and beautiful, it's just him. It's a selection of kind of live recordings from the 60s, I guess, the late 60s, but it's solo. It's him solo guitar. There's no band involved. It's as it should be. And it is such a great live recording. There's a little bit of audience interaction, but not much to distract you. You know, sometimes that can get a little bit, a little bit distracting, but it's a beautifully recorded live recording. But the songs are fantastic. He's at his peak. His performances are beautiful. I just absolutely love this. Never seen it before. Released in 1979, I think it was. And then finally, for me, this is my favourite pickup of this little mini kind of folk and blues haul. And it's a first press of Richard and Mimi Fariña, Reflections in a Crystal Wind. Of course, look at him, isn't he absolutely beautiful? Tragically died age 29 in a motorcycle accident. He was a passenger and he was taking a ride. It was his wife, Mimi Fariña's 21st birthday, and he died on her birthday. And of course, Mimi Fariña is Joan Baez's sister. And they only ever recorded 3 albums, 2 in their lifetime. This is the second one. And then one after he died. And what could have been, people say that he could have had the career of Bob Dylan if he had lived. And it was such an incredible artist. He was a novelist. He'd only just published his first novel, debut novel, a few days prior to his death. The album itself is, I'd forgotten how incredible this album is. And I have to say, the album feels like it's never been played. Honestly, there was not a sound on it. It was like it was released yesterday. And the music is eventful and inventive, clever, really funny titles. Let me give you an example. Sellout Agitation Waltz, Mainline Prosperity Blues, Howe's Un-American Blues Activity Dream. I mean, these guys were so clever and funny. There's an instrumental, actually, Miles, which I think might have been written by Mimi Fariña. She plays guitar. She was a very, very good guitarist, age 21, and he plays nearly everything else. So he plays a lot of dulcimer on this record, and it's folky, it's folk rock, art folk. It's a little bit of psych folk. It has all these beautiful, just tinkering kind of fairy elements all over it. And her voice is so great. They work so well together. I cannot love this album more. And it's got bluesy feel. It's got a bluesy feel to it. It's just a brilliant album. And I even love the cover. Like, it could have just been that frame and the portrait, and it would have been a bit saccharine. But here they have kind of made it an art kind of piece with three hands, which is a little confusing and a little bit sort of abstract and cryptic. Just very clever music and a great album, art project. Really fantastic to get that. So that's my little kind of mini art folk and blues haul that I picked up yesterday. Very excited. Thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.